Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am continuing the class. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Sayyidina wa habibina wa shafi'ina wa nuri qulubina wa qurrati a'yunina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. نوينا التعلم وتعليم وتذكر وتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم ودعاء إلى الهدى ودلالة على الخير ابتغاء وجه الله مرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى مع لطف وعافية برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين آمين يا رب العالمين. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. Praise Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala for gathering us for today's lesson. I really apologize. Last week, ya Allah, with the Daura starting, last week was like Daura, my exams, I think a lot of things came together. And I completely forgot about this class, ya Allah. I usually don't forget about classes, but this time I was like so thrown off that I forgot about this class. But today, mashallah, okay, I remembered, but I was a bit late. So we're continuing with our book, عجلة السباق إلى مكارم الأخلاق. Right, the quest for noble character, right, by Imam Al-Habib Muhammad bin Abdullah Al-Haddar. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala benefit us by him and by his knowledge in both books, inshallah. Right, so we are at part one, right? What's the part one? Definition of good character. Tamam. So every person has an external form. Right. Okay, we finished. Then now we are at part one. We actually went through part one a bit, I think, if I'm not wrong. But we will continue, inshallah. Now, so every person. So definition of good character, ta'arif, right? So the first thing you go in first, right, is that before we can even search for good character, what is the quest for good character? Okay, so the quest for good character, basically the word quest, right? The word in Arabic is ajala. The word in Arabic is ajala sibaq. Ajala sibaq is basically to rush to gain good character, because on the day of judgment that none will be saved except for the one who comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with a sound heart. Right? So it is a pressing issue. Right? It is a pressing issue. It is an urgent matter, right? To try and gain good character. Right? So al-khuluqul husn, this is the character part one. Okay, khuluqul husn, good character, or the definition of good character. لكل إنسان surah ظاهرة. So every person, they have an external form, right? And that is on our outward. And today, was it Hawa Aishan who spoke about this? No, Hussein Zainab. Today, Hussein Zainab spoke about this morning. I hope you all are, those of you who are here, right? You all are following the Daurah online. If you're following it, you're probably thinking, should you be doing the Aurat, or should you be here in this class? It's up to you, whichever one you want to attend. But this class is ongoing because it's connected to another organization. That I don't want to cancel the classes. Right, so لكل إنسان صورة ظاهرة وهي الجسد وصورة باطنة وهي الروح والنفس. Right, so every human being, every person, has an external form, and that is the physical body, jasad, right? And they have an internal form, وهو is الروح والنفس. Right, so ruh is the soul and nafs is the ego. And ego is, I think, the most accurate translation for the word nafs. Right, so let's find the word nafs is translated to be soul, it is translated to be self, it is translated to be desires, right, and nafs. Right, but I think personally, ego is the closest translation for the word nafs, right, ego. right? So the ego, but the ego can take on, I mean, ego is a negative, it can take on a negative meaning. Can ego be positive? Can ego be a because nafs can be positive, right? Nafs can rise in levels, right? Nafs can be, you have nafs al-amara, right? Nafs is commanding to evil, right? Nafs al-lawama, right? The nafs that is, the nafs that is that is constantly blaming itself, right? Then it goes up into nafs al-mutma'inna, and then nafs al-radiyah, nafs al-mardiyah, nafs al-kamila, right? There are different levels of the different nafs. So maybe the word self is better, the self. But then again, there is what is the meaning of self in the English language? So one nafs, just put, if you have the book, if you just write that nafs, right? So if you can understand the word nafs in itself, then it's easier, it's better, right? فإن صلحت سورة الظاهرة قيل فلان حسن الخلق. So if the outside form, I think we've gone through this, but we go through it again, inshallah. If the outside form, right, is rectified. And so first and foremost, if you're drawing a chart, if you're drawing a diagram, right, Habib Muhammad bin Abdullah al-Haddar, right, he explains to us, first and foremost, the human being, two parts. You have your physical part on the outward, and that is your vehicle. Right, the physical part, it is your vehicle. It actually assists with the inner part. And as so Zainab, she mentioned, I think it is Zainab's classes in the morning, where she was mentioning how the physical affects the inward, and then how the inward affects the physical, and then the physical affects the inward, and the inward affects the physical, and it becomes a cycle, right? And then you get better and better and better, or you get worse and worse and worse, right? So it can go both ways. Okay, so today she was mentioning about being a hypocrite, right? A hypocrite is whereby your outward is in contrary to your inward, right? The outward is contrary to the inward, right? So and usually, you know what, when we say contrary, right, it is always the case that the inward is actually rotten. Right? The inward has problems. The inward has disbelief. The inward has hatred. The inward has the inward is basically rotten, and the outward is showing a good form. It is almost never the case whereby, or maybe Allahu Alam, right? Maybe possible there is a case there, whereby the inward is actually pure and the outward is rotten. Is that possible? Where the inward is pure, but it's showing an outward rotten behavior. Is that possible? Rotten behavior meaning like someone of vengeance, someone of jealousy, someone of arrogance. Is it possible that someone actually is pure on the inside, right? Not having any of those traits, but on the outside they're showing rotten traits? Not possible, right? Right? Because if you're purified on the inside, it will necessarily show purity on the outside. Right? It will show a good behavior on the outside. But the other way around, whereby if someone is rotten on the inside, right, they could possibly fake a good or a noble exterior. Right? Possible. Because human beings like to be praised. And human beings like to be sanctified. And so human beings will not pretend to be rotten, right? But they will only pretend to be, unless they are a teacher trying to test their students, right? But most human beings, either they are really good people or they are pretending to be good people. But not, I mean, it's not the case whereby, I won't think there's a case whereby human beings pretend to be bad people, right? Unless you're trying to test someone, and then you pretend to be, rotten, like the Jew who grabbed Rasulullah by his collar, and then he pulled on the collar of Rasulullah to the point the collar cut into the skin of Rasulullah, and made it red, right? And then he said, "Oh Muhammad, give us what you owe us." Right? But we know that you people from Bani Hashim and Bani Muttalib, you all don't know how to your loans. You never pay on time, right? So he was very harsh, this man, and he had demanded the loan that some had on him. He had lent to Rasulullah a few days in advance. It was not time. It was not due yet, and he was living in this. This was Rasulullah. He was a Jewish rabbi. He was a very learned man amongst the Jews. Right? But what he was doing was testing the Prophet ﷺ, right, to see if he was truly the Prophet, because only a Prophet can show good behavior in the face of such extreme rotten behavior. Right? So in that case, you would say yes, he showed rotten behavior, even though he was a person, right? And he was someone of knowledge, right? His name is Ibn Sam'a, if I'm not wrong, right? But he was showing rotten behavior because he was testing Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Later on, when Sayyidina Umar found out who he was, Sayyidina Umar was shocked he behaved in that way, and you are of the scholars of the Jews, right? And he said that I only did that to test to see if he truly was the prophet, and he proved that he was the prophet, and then he took the shahada thereafter. Okay, but anyway, I was just reflecting. Is it possible? I'm just reflecting. Okay, I'm just reflecting. Like if you disagree with me, you can say to me. If you disagree with me, is it possible? Is that someone shows like naturally, like not faking it? I mean, not testing someone upon, not testing someone. But is it possible for someone to show a rotten behavior? I'm talking about behavior. Okay, I'm not talking about sinning. Many people I know, many people out there, they commit sins, right? But they're actually very good people on the inside. It's just that they have no knowledge. They have no knowledge. They have no, like they're good people on the inside, but they might be committing sins. Even people who are disbelievers, they have a good heart. Right? Many of the Sahaba, they were like that, and then they came into Islam, right? But I'm just reflecting. Is it about behavior, about character, right? About character, about behavior. Is it possible that someone? I'll ask my husband also, right? Is it possible? You answer me. Is it possible that someone has bad behavior, bad character on the outside, but they're harboring good character on the inside? Possible or not possible? Not possible. The other way possible. Is it possible that someone is showing good character on the outside, pretending, yani, and then on the inside harboring bad character? Possible, right? No. I know what you all think, right? So when we say that it's not in line, right? Usually what we mean is that on the outside, they are faking good character, right? Faking good character. And then there's a full discussion on that, on, in training yourself to have good character. It's not called faking good character, but it's called practicing good character. You're training, you're practicing good character, and good character is to be practiced. You have to practice good character until it becomes part of you, right? Tahallum is what Rasul said. Tahallum if you want hilm, right? Ta'allum if you want ilm, right? So in a sense that you force yourself on being forbearant, you force yourself, to study, you force yourself to be humble, you force yourself to control your tongue and not be so, harsh with people. You force yourself. So you force good character on yourself before good character becomes close onto you. It means you're close with good character, right? So what's the difference between someone, right, training themselves on good character? It is not their state, but they are training themselves on good character, compared to someone who is a hypocrite and who is faking good character, right? But they don't actually have good character. Okay. What's the difference? Let's see who knows the answer. Right. So what's the difference? Right. Someone who is faking. You get what I'm saying? Right. So two people, right? One is faking good character. So like somebody who is actually very arrogant, right? Or maybe she's spiteful or she has hatred. And she's pretending to like someone, pretending, and it's hypocritical, it's fake, as opposed to someone who really does not like an individual, but she's trying her best to like that person. Like trying, okay, I'll invite you to my party, I invite you to my house, come, marhaba, ahlan wa sahlan, you know, and then you hug them and you kiss them and like, okay, thank you for coming, as opposed to someone who's like, oh, hate her, I hate that she comes around, the kind of thing. What's the difference? You get what I'm saying? They both have dislike in their heart towards another believer. That is some form of bad character, by the way. Right? They have dislike in their heart towards a believer. Okay, that itself is a form of bad character. It is. It is. And like, huh? Yeah, it is. It is. It is a form of bad character. Rasulullah never harbored any negativity towards anybody, um, especially believers, right? So it is a form of bad character, right? So some people, they are, like, say, two-faced, right? Two-faced, right? They show something in front of you, and behind you, oh, they're stepping your back. And for the other person, they give the answer already, right? The other person, they're trying to like you. They're trying to like you. Okay. So they're forcing themselves to like you. They're forcing themselves, they're fighting their nafs, right? And it's like, oh no, I have to like this person. It's not right for me to dislike people for no reason. She just, be more warm with so and so, be more gracious, be more, embracing. Like, what's the difference? The difference. What's the difference? What's the main difference? You understand my question? You understand my question? What's the difference? Let's see. What's the difference? Cannot type, is it? Are we able to type? Let's see if there is there anyone who's opposed. Yes. One is putting effort towards goodness. And then, what's the difference? You all get my question? Yeah, or are you all there? Are you all there? You cannot post for everyone to see. Okay, how do you change that? Everyone. Okay, I just changed it. Sorry, this Zoom we use it for the children, so I tend to lock it. I tend to lock the chat because the kids, otherwise they'll be chatting the entire time while I'm teaching. So yeah. um okay, the other's not trying to improve. The other one is trying to improve, putting effort towards goodness. One is putting a good friend, but the other is genuinely trying to better himself. Okay. Tamam, tamam. Some more. Still not there yet. Not there yet. What's the answer? What's the biggest difference? There's one that is the biggest. There's our first step right here, right now, in this first speech, right, of the book. Biggest difference. What is the biggest difference? One day struggle and then struggle. Tamam, okay. But still not there yet. You're missing one very crucial point. One very crucial point in our path, right, towards having good character. Okay, one has a disease in the heart and the other is trying to purify himself. Okay. Before that, one of the biggest, one is backbiting, the other technically. Right. Biggest difference between the two scenarios. What's the biggest difference? That's my husband. What's the biggest difference in the two scenarios? Okay, so I'll take my two scenarios, okay? Both of them have the same disease of the heart. Okay, they both hate people. Astaghfirullahalazim. Okay, they both, okay, not they hate, they have a specific person they don't like. Okay? They have I think a lot of us, we are afflicted with this disease of the heart. I think we are afflicted. Like, there are people out there that we just, like they I know I'm afflicted. I am afflicted, but I try my best. I force myself, to like them. But I guess, characters, we don't resonate in our characters, right? But not to hate them, and you don't have to be best friends, right? But you can, yeah, you can be cordial, you can be nice to people, you can be warm to people. Okay, basically, one person, okay, so people, they have the same disease of the heart, right? They have the same bad character, which is they don't like somebody for no reason. Okay, don't like somebody for no reason. First person, whenever they see, whenever they see this person, this guy, this lady that she doesn't like, for no reason, right? She puts on a fake front. She pretends to be, so loving and so warm, and this, and it's a pretense. It's a pretense. Right? But behind the back of the person, she begins to backbite, and she hates, and she rolls her eyes, and she's like, she hates the person, and she like, basks in her hatred. I just give you the answer. And the other one, right? The other one, she doesn't like the person for no reason, and but she's like, okay, you know what? I need to not be like this. I need to try my best. I need to strive against this tendency. I must strive against my ego. I must be warm with them. I don't want them to come to my house. I'm still going to invite them. Uh, what is the difference? It's a big difference. The big difference. Come on, but you're not hitting on a nail. You're not hitting on a nail. Hit it on a nail. Give me the word that I want. It was an open-ended question that you're all not getting the answer. What is the hitting on the nail? Come on. You're not hitting it. The answer is recognition. recognition. One recognizes that she has a disease, and the other one does not recognize she has a disease. That is the first step to purification of character. You recognize you have filthy character. You get, there's a biggest difference before you speak about fighting the nafs, before you speak about, hypocrisy, not hypocrisy, before you speak about want to change yourself, before you speak about want to strive, before you speak about any of these things, they are all secondary. They're all secondary. You cannot speak about any of these things for as long as this person does not recognize she has a problem. You get me? I feel like I'm speaking like, some psychology problem. Some psychology, issue. You need to know you have a problem. You have a problem. You have an addiction. You have a problem. You need to recognize, right? Sah. You can't begin to speak about change if you don't want to admit that what you have inside of you is wrong. You can't. How are you going to walk the path of change? Right? So you can keep saying to her, you're gonna fight this disease in your heart. You have to fight it. But if she does not want to recognize that what she has is wrong, you can say all you want, it will not make any difference. Because she will just say to you, no, you don't understand me. No, you don't understand the dynamics. No, you don't understand, you don't know. Right? So she will keep denying you, right? If you're trying to help her with her diseases or her illnesses, right? She no, you don't understand what's going on exactly. And she keep denying you, there's not going to be any improvement. It's not going to be a quest for good character, right? Because you can't recognize that you have a big problem here, right? This is the thing about the quest of good character. You gotta be able to recognize first. First thing first, recognize. There's a first step to improvement. Recognize. You gotta recognize, that you have bad character. And what is the bad character inside of you? You gotta recognize it. And once you have recognized it, then you look at the books of the righteous, the scholars, and you see what are the steps that they have, suggested that we take, in your pursuit of self-purification. So before you even start purifying yourself, before you speak about, striving, anything, the first thing first, you need to be able to recognize. Right, you need to be able to recognize, right, that you have illness, right? You have a disease in your heart. Okay, mashallah. So basically, and I went in there because he was saying that there is an outward of a human being, there's an inward of a human being, right? The outward is the jism, right, and the inward is the ruh or the nafs. Okay, the ruh, it is a part of the human being that connects you to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. It is samawi. In Arabic, it says samawi. You all have a book or not? Write down notes. Okay, it is samawi. Right, so the soul is samawi. So the soul is what connects you to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, and the soul is what pushes the human being into higher pursuits. Okay, the soul, and the soul wants higher pursuits, and the soul wants to focus on Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. The soul wants to rise Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Right, so the soul wants higher pursuits, right? And then the nerves is what drags the human being down. So the nerves is what connects the human being to the earth, right, to his animalistic self, right? The nafs brings the human being down, right? So the human being ruh wa nafs, right? He's between his ruh, his higher, more spiritual, we say more heavenly, right? More heavenly self, right? And the nafs is more, of his mortal self. Okay, you get me? Now, right? So it فإن صلحت صورة الظاهرة قيل فلان حسن الخلق, right? So if the outer self of a person, right, is rectified, that means it's beautiful, then you see this person has beautiful, outward features, right? You see al-khalq, beautiful features, right? بفتح الخاء وسكون اللام وإن حسنت صورة الباطنة, right? And if the inward is right, قيل فلان حسن الخلق, right? فلان حسن الخلق, this person, he has beautified his inward, his character on the inside. بضم الخاء ولم. So there is خلق and there is خلق. And we mentioned that last 2 weeks ago, the dua of looking in the mirror, Allahumma kama hasanta khalqi fahassin khuluqi. Oh Allah, as how you have, beautified my outward, features, beautify my inward features. And as I mentioned last week also, that I think I've never, honestly, I've never in my life met a human being who is the way Allah created him or her, and thought that human being to be ugly. I have never in my life met a human being, that, and we know this, exactly when you see babies, when you see babies, have you like ever met an ugly baby? I've never met an ugly baby in my life, right? I've never met an ugly baby in my life. All babies are beautiful because they're so pure. They don't have the ugliness of sin, on their faces. Right. I mean, I've never met an ugly baby in my life. Like human beings only become ugly once they mess with Allah's creation. Once they begin to mess with themselves, and even change stuff about their faces, then they actually become ugly. Yani. But if you just stay the way Allah created you, I've never met an ugly person unless the ugliness is actually, stemming from an ugly character on the inside. Mm. And then you perceive ugliness on the face, but because they are harboring resentment or arrogance or hatred or jealousy on the inside, and the ugly character is manifesting on the face on the outside. So no matter how beautified the face, it's still ugly, right? Because the ugly character is overshadowing like the so-called perfected face on the outside. You get me? And I think everyone knows this. We all know it. I can meet someone who, technically you might not say they have, faces like a supermodel or whatever, right? But because they have such pure hearts, they are so attractive. They're so beautiful, mashallah. When you look at them, because they just see everyone with kindness and mercy and gentleness, right? Mashallah, tabarakallah, you see beauty in them. I say need the outward state of a human being and the inward state of a human being. فإن جمع الله له بين حسنيين, right? So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings or gathers in a person of both forms of beauty, outward beauty and inward beauty, and that is exactly our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This morning, how variation was going on and on and on and on about his outward beauty sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We know his inward beauty is even more, mashallah. Right. Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is perfect, perfect, perfect. Right. Also grievous today to see the post about the Prophet, and they're saying stuff about him that makes him seem to be imperfect. No, Rasulullah is perfect. And then some people posting say, why would Allah send a prophet who is not perfect? You know what did say? I forgot what did say. Some posted as a comment, right? If Allah wanted to send a perfected prophet, he would have sent an angel. That's exactly what these believers say. SubhanAllah, I saw the comment. If Allah wanted to send a perfected prophet, he would have sent an angel. Ya Allah, Aqidah 101. Right, Aqidah, basic Aqidah, Ya Allah. But our society, subhanAllah, majority of people, they don't actually study the basics of our faith. They don't actually study the basics of our faith. Right? Allah, the prophets are perfect. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. It is daruri. It is necessary that prophets are perfect. Prophets must be perfect. They must be perfect, right? And they are perfect humanly. They must be human perfect, right? Why? Because they are leaders for all of humanity, and so we need that our example be perfected. Get me, right? So, but they cannot be angels. Why not? Right? Because then they'll be beyond us to follow, right? So they must be of beings that are mortal, beings that live and they die, beings that have that eat and they drink and they sleep and they marry, beings that have emotions, happiness and sadness. They go through grief, they go through loss, they go through, they're human in that way, the prophets. But at the same time, so they're human in that way, right? So they cannot be absolutely perfect. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they are humanly perfect. Like humanly perfect in that they don't have, deficiencies like other human beings have deficiencies. Why? Because they are to be the perfect examples for human beings. Right? Why? Because if we don't have perfect examples, then how are we going to strive? Right? How are you going to strive? And we need to strive to a perfect example. And the perfect example in front of us is the Prophet ﷺ. So we need not this theoretical perfect example, but a physical, real life, living perfect example in front of us for us to copy and to be like. Right? But unfortunately, people don't understand this concept. And I was so surprised to see I'm surprised, not surprised, to see the comment like that. Most people don't study Aqidah. Unfortunately, subhanallah, but we need to study, okay? Study Aqidah. نعم. فقد أتم الله عليه النعمة. قال صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. So here he says, so the one, right, who has a beautiful character and a beautiful um uh uh physical being, right? So if Allah makes them beautiful on the outward, on the inward, then Allah has completed His favor upon such an individual, as the Prophet ﷺ has said, "Wallahi, ما حسن الله خلق رجل ولا خلقه فتطمعه النار فتطعمه النار أبدا." رواه البيهقي وغيره. Right, so Rasulullah said that Allah did not beautify the physical form and character of a man for the fire to devour him forever. Right, so what does this mean? Right, the physical form, of course, Allah gave this person good looks. Okay, and really, honestly, I really see that Allah give everybody good looks. Maybe some people, prettier than others, but I don't know. I'm not like in a natural form, right? In a natural form, I don't know. I see everybody to be good looking. I don't know. I do. I do. I honestly do. I see everyone to be good looking. I mean, everyone's decent. Everyone's decent. I can't think of a single person that I consider ugly. Stuff like I mean, um, uh, except that they actually harbor negative traits in them. I've seen those. I've seen people who like they have so much resentment in their hearts. There's so much arrogance in their hearts. There's so much spite in their hearts that they could be physically beautiful if their makeup and their beautification or whatsoever, but they are repulsive. They are so repulsive, ugly, because they're always frowning and grumpy, they're this, they're that. You know, those people I've seen, they're ugly. There's ugliness about them. But mashallah, you know, mashallah, Allah's creation, Allah's creation, is always beautiful. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you witness wherever you go, Allah's creation, I mean, you witness it, it is Allah's creation. Wherever you go, you witness Allah's creation. You always see beauty. And you always find beauty. I even find a donkeys here in Tani beautiful. I like the donkeys here. They're so cute. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I see all the animals here. They're beautiful. Right. Okay, the cockroach is scary, lah. The lizards are scary. But in the sense that if you want to observe their physique, they are beautiful in the way Allah has created them. But they are scary. And you want to just kill them and get rid of them. Naam. Right, so Allahumma Sayyidina Muhammad. Naam. Right, so a beautiful character on the inward. Allah did not beautify the physical form and character of a man for the fire to devour him forever, right? So to beautify the character, so character as we're taking, we have stopped for a while. The adab, right? Who's khuluquna, the book khuluquna, our akhlaq with ourselves, our akhlaq with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our akhlaq with the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right. So when you say beautiful character, you are actually covering all three aspects. Right? Beautiful character covers all three aspects. Character of Allah, character with ourselves, and character with the creation. And therefore, right, when you see someone has beautiful character, by default, it means someone who's a believer, right? Because belief is the foundation of good character, right? Belief is the foundation of good character, right? While a person can be a good person without iman in their heart, right? But when we speak about good character in Islam, right, we are speaking about first and foremost iman, right? The first thing that you're speaking about is iman, and the Shaykh will go right into that, because that is to recognize the one who created you, the one whom you belong to, right? So if you can recognize that, what did I teach this morning? Oh yeah, on the Daura. I know I just spoke about this morning, but I can't remember where I spoke about it. The Daura. Yeah, I think year 3 class. Was it year 3? Yes, year 3 class now. Right. So so that is the understanding. Okay, so it's in a human being, right? You actually mean from iman. Okay, iman is understood, right? So when we say prophets are perfect, we have to add human perfect. Yes, correct. Correct. That is a correct statement, right? So when I say prophets are perfect, right? What you mean automatically from what I'm saying is that I'm saying they are humanly perfect, right? They have reached the level of human perfection, right? So actually, in fact, whether or not you say humanly perfect, it should be understood that what I mean is, of course, humanly perfect, right? Because the only one that has absolute perfection is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And absolute perfection means that he has no dependency on anything, he has no beginning, no ending. And that is the definition of what is absolutely perfect. They don't depend on someone to create you. That your existence does not depend on anybody else. And it's only Allah has that. Where only Allah's existence is not dependent, it's not dependent on anyone else. Right? But prophets, yes, they depend on Allah for Allah to create them, right? And to sustain them. نعم. لم ينال ولم ينال أعلى درجة في حسن السورتين غير نبينا ما شاء الله محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم، فقد كان أحسن الناس خلقا وخلقا، أولهم إلى مكارم الأخلاق سبقا. خلقه الله تعالى على أحسن الصورة فيها جميع المحاسن المحصورة وعليها مقصورة. أثنى عليه القرآن الكريم وإنك لعلى خلق عظيم. نعم. Right, so here there's no individual, no individual has attained a more sublime level of perfection, is a higher level of perfection, right, in both forms of beauty, outward and inner, except our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? As he was the most beautiful of people in both physical form and internal attributes, the foremost in the attainment of the most exalted standards of virtuous conduct. Allah created him in the most perfect external form, in which was realized fully and completely the noblest virtues of character, as Allah Himself praised Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in the Quran. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. And surely, O Prophet, you are on excellent or high and immense standard of character. MashaAllah, I'm actually quite happy that I'm very happy that we're doing this section today, right? After the all this stuff online that they've been talking about Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, in regards to mental health. I don't go into it. I went into it throughout all of my Aqidah lesson today. Right, but mashallah, I like it that I love it that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has arranged that we reflect on the perfection of our beloved Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and nobody can attribute to him any form of action or defects or imperfection, right, to his being Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He is perfect, he is perfect as a human being. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right? So subhanallah, to ascribe that he had any form of, mental ailment, or even any form of deficiency in himself, that he needed the validation of other people, right? That is blasphemous. It is actually blasphemous. Well, I understand that what was meant to be done was to encourage people to seek help if they are going through mental illnesses, and that's okay. You can encourage people to seek help if they're going through mental illnesses. You cannot say that, oh, even the Prophet had it. And that is being exactly what the Jews and the Christians have done, whereby they will go and they'll make up, stories about so-called sin, and they will justify their own sin and say, oh, even the prophets sinned in this way. Even the prophets sinned. No, the prophets never sinned. No, the prophets never had weak faith. No, the prophets never had weakness in themselves. The prophets are never weak. The prophets are in their full strength in every aspect of a human being, physically, mentally, emotionally, and definitely spiritually. They are perfected in their strength, in every aspect of a human being. So they are not subject, to anxiety, nor worry, nor depression. No, they're not subject because they are prophets, and therefore they are protected by Allah Subhanahu wa Taala from all the ailments that afflict other human beings. Right now, just commenting on that. I'm happy that we're doing this now, so after this reaches more people, and that we rectify, we correct our understanding of our beloved sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we understand that what we can say about him and what we can't say about him, and especially making conclusions about him that is not, they are not justified nor verified nor based on anything, that no sources whatsoever. Right. So in a sense, like, there was one time, I can't remember where I read this. I read a book a long time ago. I can't remember what it's called right now, but it was a children's book, a Sira children's book. And I'm sure the author, I'm sure all of them, right? They have good intentions. But there is a statement that the people by the door of hell are those with good intentions. Do you know that statement? It's not a hadith, but it's a statement. The people by the door of hell have good intentions. Do you know the statement? Right? The people by the door of hell have good intentions. What does that mean? People standing by the door of hell have good intentions. What does that mean? What does that mean? Someone give me an example of what that means. This is very prevalent in our religion. It's very prevalent. People sitting by the door of hell have good intentions. Others with good intentions. Never heard of it? Oh, it's a statement. It's a statement, and it's true. It's true. So, for example, right? You know, there were people in the past in Islam. They will make up hadith, fabricate. They'll fabricate hadith about different surahs, to be recited to encourage people to recite Quran. So they have good intentions. They have good intentions. Yes, yes, correct. The hell is paved with good intentions. And that is one of the statements as well. The path to hell is paved with good intentions. There's another one whereby the people who stand at the door of hell are those of good intentions. I mean, they call people intentions. So hell is paved with good intentions, is that people in their good intentions fight to hell. The other statement whereby the ones by the door of hell have good intentions, they call people to the hellfire, but they actually have good intentions. Right? You get it, right? So for example, in the history of Islam, right, there are people who fabricate hadith, they make up lies against Rasulullah because they want to encourage people, right, to read some surahs. So they have good intentions, but haram, what they're doing is haram. They can't do that. You get me, right? So like this scenario, for example, this case, they try to help people with their mental health. They have good intentions, yes, but haram, that they have ended into talking about Rasulullah that is blasphemous. Yeah, you want to do good. Yeah, you have a good intentions. No one's doubting their good intentions. They have good intentions, but doing it wrong, right? So I remember, I remember reading this book, Sirah book, and be careful what you're reading. I was young, I read it, and I put it away because I didn't like it. I didn't like it, right? Because it was the Sirah of Rasulullah, but it was written as a narrative, right? It was written as a narrative about the Prophet Muhammad, so it's a narrative on Rasulullah's life. So a lot of like the writer, right? As she wrote the stories, she put in a lot of emotions for Rasulullah. And how would you know? How would you know what were the emotions that ran through his heart and ran through his head, or the thoughts that ran through his head? You weren't there. You're not him, right? So in a fictional story, yes, you can, put emotions and thoughts to your characters, yes. But for the Prophet ﷺ in his seerah, you can't do that. You can't say, oh, he felt this, he felt that, he was thinking this, he was thinking that, unless he himself articulated and said so, right? MashaAllah. But anyway, yeah, I was saying that. I can't remember why I'm mentioning that. Right? But basically, it's wrong. It's wrong, right? To say something about Rasulullah that is not befitting of Rasulullah, or you have no proof. You have no proof in the hadith collections that he actually felt that way, right? Or he actually thought that way. You have no proof that he actually, that there was what he was experiencing, right? So you can't actually say, oh, he was having anxiety, oh, he was having this, he was having that. If he never said if he never said that he was doing it, and in fact, for you to understand the Arabic language, to know the nuances of the Arabic language, what he meant, right? Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Like there is, I know of some people, they read some hadith and they think that Rasulullah was suicidal at some point in his life. No, the Arabic language, the word that is being used in the Arabic language does not actually mean suicidal, but it's a way of speaking Arabic. So you even have to know how the Arabs use the word Arabic, how the Arabs use Arabic language, for you to understand the hadith. Yeah, you can't, so it is, so you can't, just figure things out by yourself without going through the explanations of the righteous, of the scholars, upon scholars. وقال فيه صلى الله عليه وقال فيه حسان رضي الله عنه, one of the companions of Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم, Sayyidina Hassan bin Thabit, Sayyidina Hassan bin Thabit, he was the poet of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, where he said خلقت مبرأ من كل عيب كأنك قد خلقت كما تشاء. So he says that you were created free of every flaw or blemish. It is as if you were created as how you wished. صلى الله وسلم عليه وعلى آله ورزقنا الله كمال متابعة له ظاهرا وباطنا في سائر أحواله. May Allah send salvation unto him sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to his family, and may Allah grant us a perfect following of him on the outward and on the inward in all of his affairs, his matters. Right, so now we have our perfected human being, and we have our perfect example in front of us. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, right. So وإذا ساءت سورة ظاهر, وإذا ساءت سورة ظاهر قيل فلان سيء الخلق بفتح خاء والسكون لام, أو سورة الباطن قيل فلان سيء الخلق بضمهما أعاذنا الله من ذلك ومن كل سوء أبدا. Right, and so if someone says someone has a bad outer feature, and that means they are not attractive. If someone says they have a bad inner traits, they have bad character, right, then may Allah protect us from that. That is even worse, because the bad inner trait is everlasting. A bad inner trait is everlasting. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from that. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, okay, I finished the first chapter. I want to go chapter by chapter, so that I don't confuse myself and end up repeating things. Right, so I will go chapter by chapter, inshallah. Let me see if there are any questions here. We have a bit of time right now, about 8 minutes. Let me see the questions here. How do we share the story of the Prophet during the day of the day of Mahshar? Right, that Nabi Adam said he's unable to intercede because he made a mistake. Now, right, then when the next prophet and so on and so forth, until Nabi Muhammad said, I will intercede. Right, what word do we choose? Made a mistake. No. The thing about the hadith, right? You can find this hadith in the Real Islam book. Is there? I think it's in the primary 5 book. I put the full narration there. Like if you want to get the full correct narration of the hadith and the word usage that's used exactly by the prophets on the day of judgment, you can find it in the Real Islam primary 5. Should be primary 5 book. But basically, right, the prophets, they all just say nafsi nafsi. They actually say, I'm worried about myself, I'm worried about myself. And that's basically what they actually say. Right? And they'll say, go to this prophet, for indeed he is the Kalimullah, he is Ruhullah, he is Habibullah, that kind of thing. Right? So it's not so much that they will say about their sins somewhat, right? But and the thing about it is that it was a mistake, yes. The prophets, they all committed mistakes. It's Aqidah. Aqidah. Right? The prophets, they committed mistakes. They didn't have sins, right? But for the prophet themselves, from their point of view, they see it as sins, right? So there's the statement whereby depending on your level, right, the good deeds of righteous people are seen as the bad deeds of those who are close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right, just spoke about that, Anissa. Right, what was the statement? Right, سيئات الأبرار حسنات المقربين. صحيح. Right, سيئات الأبرار حسنات المقربين. Right, so the bad deeds of those who are high in piety to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, their bad deeds are seen as good deeds of those who are close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning that depending on your level, right, certain things are bad deeds, right, depending on your level. Right? For example, right, if someone is a common person, okay, common person, as compared to someone who is an ustada, one ustad, okay, we're all human, tamam, we're all human. Would it be different if, let's say, you found out that a common person, I'm just going to be a bit more extreme again, example, a common person cheated on their spouse and an ustada cheated on her spouse? Oh, right? Straight away is different. It's different. It's different. Right? It's different. You know, like there is terrible sin, yes, terrible sin. But if someone who's carrying a religion does it, oh, it's like it's enormous. You get me? You get me? So from this understanding, right? Um, when you see like common people, right? For them, what is considered as maybe something good for them, you know, it's a righteous action. For example, you know, when they um okay, when they cut down, you know, watching videos or watching stuff online, they cut down. You say, ah, good, mashallah, alhamdulillah, but tabarakallah, very good for you. I'm so proud of you. You stop watching your Bollywood. Okay, I'm proud of you. You stop watching your Korean drama series or your Japanese drama or whatever. I'm so proud of you. Cut off music. Okay, if someone who is carrying a religion says that, you know, I stop music, and you're like, actually, Ustazah, aren't you supposed to cut off music? Like, I mean, you get me? You get me? Like, so with regards to prophets, so what we see as mistakes with regards to prophets, they will see, this is what I'm getting at, right? They will see as sins in their regard. They themselves as prophets, they themselves will see it as sins in their regard. But on us, we see it as a mistake, or as a lapse in judgment, which it's a lapse in judgment, right? For them, right? You know, they see it as a sin in themselves. You get what I'm saying? Okay, tamam. Any other questions? Any other questions? No other question. Okay, so no other questions. We can start for today, inshallah. Right, tomorrow I will, not tomorrow, next week. We will continue this next week, inshallah. Barakallahu fikum. Wasallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. الفاتحة أن الله يجبنا منافع وعملا خالصا للإسلام ودليل الهدى يسر بك بنبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وإلى أرواح معالي من مشايخنا وذوي الحق علينا وإلى حضرة النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم. الفاتحة. الحمد لله. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.